I'm Margaret Abekoga, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 2, in the December of 2015. And here I am 2.5 years later, made it to the other side. It was probably late 2014, and I had noticed some changes in my left breast, mainly that it looked like my nipple was inverting, and looked like it was shrinking too. But I was also working training to do some half marathons. So I just thought maybe it was the training, and that's why, I was hopefully losing body fat. And then the inverted nipple, my mom actually had that just as a trait and wasn't cancerous or anything. So I just thought maybe it was genetic. And so I went about my life, but I have other issues, health issues. So I do go see my primary care physician once a year, and I went to my annual checkup. She mentioned it to her. She did a quick breast check and didn't feel anything, but sent me to get a mammogram. And when I did originally with the regular mammogram, they didn't see anything, but they saw something that made them refer me to a second, I think it was a 3D mammogram. That took a while actually to get, and I was living a busy life, so I had to kind of push it off. But by the end of 2015, I finally went in, and then things just happened quickly after that. I was diagnosed with a tumor, and the next day after the mammogram, they called me in to do the biopsy. And then right after that, I got a call from my primary care physician telling me that I do have breast cancer, and she was going to set me up with an oncologist and a surgeon. So things happened very quickly after that. So I went in for the mammogram, and then they brought me right back the next day for the biopsy. And it was actually, they had me wait, and within a half hour I was called in to see the doctor, and he was the one who told me. But it was that was probably the worst experience I had. It was very cold, non-emotional. It's just, here you are, this is what you have. And then you can go talk to the oncologist more. And that was really, it was shocking because that was the first time I was told, and it came from someone who just was not very emotional or compassionate, I felt. And so, yeah, I came home just not really knowing what this all meant. And that unknown, the fear of the unknown was scary. I didn't really understand it at first. It was very confusing, and frankly, you have to make all of these other decisions around the same time as to what kind of treatment you want to get, so forth. So I didn't really understand it, and I just didn't want to deal with it, to be honest. And later on, as I looked into it further, and that was from reading and so forth, I realized it was basically to see if I had this gene and whether it could transfer onto my girls. And so because I have 2 daughters, it was really more for, frankly, their benefit or their knowledge. And so I did have the testing done. Turns out I don't have the gene either. So I think that was the biggest, you go through this process of why me? Why did this happen to me? And not having had history, not having the gene, I go down that, oh my goodness, what was it? Was it that time we lived next to the railroad tracks and behind an auto mechanic shop. So was it that? Or my dad was a gardener, so he was, using the blower machine. You just go through that whole, what happened? Why me? And then at some point in time, I just came to, think, It was random, and it just happened. And there's really no point, frankly, in trying to figure out why. You just have to move on.